So Carlisle, this is our last episode in this little podcast thing. And for those that have been with us through all the episodes, just to check, there are some people that this new two-pot system isn't going to apply to. So I know it does not apply to pensioners, people who are already receiving a pension. And then there's another category that can choose to be part of it.
And that's those Provident Fund members who were over the age of 55 on 1 March 2021. It goes back to that date, and who have stayed a member of that Provident Fund. Those are the same guys who have a vested benefit that they can still take as a full lump sum on retirement. And for all of them, unless they actively choose to participate in the two-pot system, they won't. So it means they won't have a savings component. They can't take a savings withdrawal benefit. But if they would like to, then they can choose to participate, but then they'll lose their vested benefit. So it's a very important decision that Provident Fund members over 55 who are still members of the same fund need to make.
Okay, and so for all the other members that the two-pot is going to apply to, what can they be doing or should they be doing to get ready for this big change in our law?
So at the moment, a lot of the pressure and the responsibility has been on funds and administrators. So their retirement funds have been very busy, as we know, with doing various rule amendments to make sure that they can give effect to that. And even as we stand now in June, while we're recording this podcast, there are still elements of the legislation that still need to be finalized. But be that as it may, the regulator, the FSC, has already urged funds to be submitting rule amendments, and quite a few funds have already done so. So that's the first step for the funds. It's obviously not at a member level. And likewise, not so much at a member level, but administrators and employers are taking efforts to communicate with members, to explain these things to them in writing, roadshows, alike, to make sure that members are aware that this is happening and what the procedures and the processes are and all the various different aspects that we've spoken about.
And I've heard some of the administrators are going to let members claim using WhatsApp. Some of them have got portals through the web. Some you've got to fill out a claim form and you've got to go and talk to your employer about it. So there's all different mechanisms. I'm guessing the member should just contact their administrators or their funds.
So the member should contact their fund or administrator, but the responsibility for the member is to make sure that their affairs are in order, particularly their tax affairs. We spoke earlier about how your tax affairs have to be in order, make sure tax numbers correct, and make sure that your fund and administrator, employer have correct contact details so that whatever mechanism is being utilized, whether it's forms, like you say, or WhatsApp, that all of your details are up to date and all of your tax affairs are actually in order. But if I could ask you, Samantha, so if all of my tax affairs are in order, if I do everything from the member side and I get my details correct and my fund rules are approved, am I definitely going to get my money on 1 September?
Probably not, because every single retirement fund member in the country is affected by this change. So the administrators still need to have all their systems in place. SARS needs to issue the actual tax directive to know how much has got to come off before you can receive the money in your bank. And I think realistically, people should allow a few weeks. It's not going to be overnight, I think, just to manage the expectation.
Yeah.
And the one thing members, of course, mustn't do is just withdraw for the sake of it, because they're borrowing from their future selves. We know it's there for financial emergencies. If they can, we'd encourage members, obviously, to leave the money there.
Yeah.
And then just to say to everyone, thank you for joining us. We hope this has been a little bit useful, and our contact details are available for any further queries.